friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to another week's What's for Dinner. I hope each and every one of you are having a good week. I know that it can be really tough out there right now with people not working, kids not in school, and just having to be quarantined in our homes. If you're anything like me, your house is getting pretty clean during this time. But I have 3 recipes here that I hope you enjoy, and I hope they get your mind off of some things. I know that cooking really helps me to get through things and get through stress. So I hope that you enjoy these meals. So let's get started. The first meal we'll be having is going to be like a taco style bowl. And I'm starting off by making some brown rice in my Instant Pot. And you can just go ahead and make your rice any way that you like to. Next, I'm cooking up about a pound of ground turkey meat, and I'm going to use my meat chopping tool to just break that up and let that brown. Once your meat is cooked up, just go ahead and add some taco seasoning. I'm using a big container of it, so I'm just measuring out about a 1/4 cup. That's what I use for about a pound of meat. If you just use a packet, go ahead and use the whole packet. And I didn't drain my ground turkey because it's pretty lean. So now I'm just adding a little extra water into it to dissolve some of that taco seasoning. Here are some ideas for toppings for your taco bowls. We are just going to be using some black beans, some corn, some shredded cheese, some salsa, some romaine, some sour cream, and Valentine hot sauce because that's my favorite. Use whatever works for you. I decided I want some of this cilantro lime rice mixed in with my brown rice, so I'm just making that really quick in the microwave. This meal tastes so fresh and has so many flavors, so I could eat this all the time. I think it'd make a really good meal prep meal. On this night, we're having a chicken and rice with vegetable soup. So with the limited things you can find in stores right now, I decided to utilize some of these scraps from my vegetables to make the broth for this soup. So I'm just going to use up some of the carrot peels and onion peeling, and if you have any scraps from your celery, just go ahead and throw that all in your water. I didn't have any celery scraps right here because I meal prep or like cut out all my celery for the week and it's soaking in water, so I've already got rid of all the excess parts. I am adding these scraps to 10 cups of boiling water, and you can just feel free to use any chicken stock you have on hand. I'm also adding a couple good pinches of salt and pepper to flavor this water. Next, I am adding in 2 large chicken breasts. Mine equaled out to about 1.5 pounds. You can use anywhere from 1 pound to 1.5 pounds. Then I'm going to just add a good size amount of Italian seasoning, maybe about 1.5 tablespoons. Go ahead and bring your water to a boil and then reduce your heat to a simmer and cook your chicken for about 30 minutes or until it's done. While that cooks, I'm going to dice up my onion. I have about 3 small red onions that I'm dicing up. You can use yellow onion, it's just what I had. Then I'm going to cut up my carrots into some bite-sized pieces. I am using 3 carrots for this soup. Here is that celery that I was telling you that I always keep in my refrigerator in water. So I'm just pulling out some pieces to equal about 3 stalks of celery. Then I'm going to go ahead and dice those up into some smaller pieces. Once my chicken is done, I'm just pulling that out of the broth and I'm going to place that aside in a bowl. And then I'm just removing some of those larger pieces from that broth so that I can go ahead and strain it. I don't have a large strainer, so I'm just using what I have and I'm placing that over a bowl. And then just carefully go ahead and strain your broth to get out any of those remainder scraps. Here I added about a tablespoon of olive oil to my pot over medium heat, and I'm going to add in my carrots, celery, and onions. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon each of garlic powder and Italian seasoning. Fresh garlic would have been amazing, but I was all out. So then just go ahead and cook all of that until it's tender, which is about 6 minutes. Once those are tender, I'm adding in my broth to the pot, as well as a half a cup of arborio rice. Go ahead and bring that to a boil and then reduce your heat to a simmer for 20 minutes until the rice is cooked. You can also use long grain rice, but you will have to increase your cook time for about 5 minutes. While that is cooking, I'm just going to go ahead and shred up my 2 chicken breasts to have that ready to add in once the rice is done. I did go ahead and taste that broth and it wasn't as flavorful as I would have liked it, so I did remove some of the hot broth from the pot and set it aside to mix in about a teaspoon each of chicken better than bouillon as well as vegetable better than bouillon. You could also add in a bouillon cube or just a tablespoon of bouillon granules. I really feel like it was necessary to really just kick up the flavor of this soup. And once that rice was cooked, I just went ahead and added in that broth mixture and as well as my shredded chicken, and I just mixed that all together. This soup was so perfect with this rainy weather that we were having. I just went ahead and reheated some biscuits that we had the day prior and also had some saltine crackers with this because it just sounded so good. I really enjoyed this. This last meal is zucchini mushroom chicken and rice. So here I have 3 very sad looking zucchinis, but there's no wasting food right now. So I just peeled off some of the parts that weren't looking very great and I'm just going to use those up in this recipe. So I'm just going to cut those up into pieces that are about 1/4 inch in thickness. I am going to be using some pre-sliced mushrooms. If you're not, right now would be the time that you would slice those up. Next, I am just quickly putting some rice to cook in my Instant Pot. You can go ahead and make your rice however you see fit. Next, go ahead and heat a large pan or wok over medium-high heat and go ahead and add in about 2 tablespoons of oil. I use canola. Then I'm cutting up 2 large chicken breasts, which is about 1.5 pounds, into some bite-sized pieces. I had placed my chicken pieces in a bowl and I'm going to mix in about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I ended up needing a little more, so I'd say in total I used about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Just go ahead and combine that with your chicken. Then I'm just adding those chicken pieces to my hot oil, and mine kind of stuck together, so I'm using my wooden spoon to break those apart. And then you're going to cook those for about 8 minutes, flipping in between so that you brown all the sides. I used my tongs during this to kind of flip to sides that weren't getting browned as much. While the chicken is cooking, you will make your sauce by combining 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of rice vinegar, and I didn't have any, so I'm just using some apple cider vinegar in place of that. Then I'm going to mix in 2 teaspoons of sugar, and I ended up tasting this and I wanted a little more sweetness, so I added an additional 2 teaspoons of sugar for a total of 4 teaspoons. Once the chicken was done, I removed it from my pan and set it aside. Turn down the heat to medium-low, and I'm adding in about a tablespoon each of minced garlic and fresh minced ginger. I'm using this squeeze bottle kind. You can substitute for half a teaspoon ground ginger if you don't have fresh. Just go ahead and cook and stir that for about 20 seconds or just until it's fragrant. Turn the heat back up to medium-high and go ahead and stir in your zucchini and your mushrooms and cook those for about 5 to 6 minutes or until fork tender and browned. And go ahead and make sure to stir those frequently so they get cooked on all sides. Once those are cooked, you're going to go ahead and add back in your chicken to your pan, as well as the sauce that you made earlier, and you're going to coat your chicken and vegetables with all of that sauce. You're going to go ahead and stir and cook that for about a minute until everything is nice and heated, and I'm also just giving that a quick sprinkle with some extra sesame seed oil on top. We loved this meal so much. It was just as good as having Chinese takeout. You will not regret making this. Thanks so much for watching, friends. I hope you have a great week. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on next week's What's for Dinner.